All right, so welcome to Achieve Financial Freedom webinar. We will be starting straight up. We don't have much time to cover everything that we need to cover, and I want to make sure that this session is not overextended beyond an hour maximum. It could be shorter, but if you have any question whatsoever in the course of this, feel free to drop them in the chat box, and I'll be very, very delighted to share with you. Okay, so let's look at the wealth triangle, what we often refer to as the wealth pyramid or the journey to financial freedom. And this particular illustration is so important whenever I'm going to work with clients, especially whose objective is toward retiring rich, retiring early, and retiring safely. I always like to ascertain where they are within the wealth pyramid to know exactly what needs to be done and to know how quickly we can arrive at the wealthy place. Like I've shared time and time again, I will never be tired sharing it again and again, that I understand the color and taste of poverty. I know what it means to struggle financially. Most of us who were born in Africa were not born with silver spoon. Some of us were not born with any spoon at all. And regardless of where you came from, regardless of your circumstance at the time of your birth, you can still change the trajectory of your financial story. And I have experienced it. Several other people have experienced it. They never had a chance. Nobody ever gave them a chance of the possibility of success. And today, we all look back and are grateful to God for our journey so far. And I believe that there's a science. There's a science to creating wealth. And if you understand the science to creating wealth, it's not going to be difficult. It's going to just be a walk in the park. But it's always good that we start with understanding where exactly we are. If we cannot ascertain our location, how do we journey? Even if we determine our destination, but we don't ascertain our location, how do we determine the distance? And then how do we determine the track we must follow to get to our desired destination? So every one of us on this call clearly has a current reality. And clearly all of us also have a desired reality. It may be foggy, it may not be so clear. For some of us, it's clear enough. So for some of us, we have some degree of specificity to our goals. But there are some of us who are not clear, we're unsure as to what to do, what next to do, and all of that. And so I want to take us through this, and this will help us significantly, not only in determining or ascertaining our current location, but also find a path to where we ought to be, regardless of whatever limitations or circumstances that we may find ourselves. Whether you live abroad or whether you in America, you are in the US, you are in Canada, in the UK, wherever you may currently reside. This is going to help you formulate a roadmap. I often teach on the science and art of wealth creation. The art is what is visible, is the hardware of wealth, is the paraphernalia of wealth. These are the things that people see and they say, oh, this person is wealthy or has a resemblance of wealth. But the science is what ensures repeatability, predictability, and sustainability. When you understand the science is the back end of wealth. And I hope I'm not speaking too much of grammar. So when you understand the science, when you have the formula for wealth, so the science is the formula, right? Is the back end. Is this what gives everything we see in the front end functionality? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a grasp on that. And that's why once they lose everything that appears to be or that describes the paraphernalia of wealth or resemblance of wealth, once they lose anything like that, they become anxious, they lose faith in themselves, they lose faith in the possibility of success, and all of that. Sometimes relationship crash, marriage crashes on account of that. Um, many other things also crumbles as a result of that. But when you understand the back end of wealth, it gives you some level of peace. So before we make that transition to the formula and all of those things, um, let us look at the wealth pyramid. If I still have your attention, please say I am here. Type I am here. Just type I am here in the chat box. So let me just give some quick illustration. Type I'm here if you are still there so that I'll be sure that we are still together. Okay, good. So this, if you can see my screen, just type screen. If you can see my screen, please type screen just to be sure that you can see my screen because I need to illustrate exactly what we're talking about here. We're looking at the wealth triangle. That was what was advertised, but essentially it's about the wealth pyramid. The journey to financial freedom has different categories at different levels and layers in it. And it's important to determine exactly where you are so that we can then begin to describe our path and track to the wealthy place. So the first thing we see here, this is the wealth pyramid, or what I regard as the journey to financial freedom. Um, and everybody on planet Earth is in the five various categories or levels in this wealth pyramid. The first one is what we call financial crisis. Financial crisis. There are two broad categories of people in financial crisis. And this is typically where you find a lot of people. Some of you have attended the sessions that we've had, but this bears repetition for some of us. And then this is the first time some of us are hearing it. But financial crisis, for a large population of people in financial crisis, are people who are not making money at all, right? But because all of us are gifted spenders, all of us are talented spenders, none of us need mentoring, none of us need coaching, none of us require schooling to spend, right? So from cradle to grave, we are qualified, certified spenders. And so as long as you are not making money, but continue to spend money, there's no other place you would be other than financial crisis. And that's why it's a very delicate place. And there are a lot of people who are in financial crisis occasioned by their inability to make income. Okay? But there's a small population of people who could also be in financial crisis. This category of people are those who, for some stroke of fate, or whether you believe in luck or not, or for sheer hard work and all of those things, they've successfully made some money and built a portfolio of fixed assets. But this category of people, this small population of people, are low on cash flow or they have no cash flow. So it's possible for you to be worth $1 million, $5 million in assets, fixed assets, but you may not be able to even afford ordinary $50,000. Ordinary $10,000 can put you to shame, right? That kind of person also can be regarded as being in financial crisis. Now, while that is a better place to be than not making money at all and not having built any reasonable asset or substantial asset, you also want to make sure that, well, you are not in a position where you have so much funds tied down in the asset and there's no cash flow. It's not a place anybody really, really wants to be. So that's the first category of people. And that is the first category. The second category, and I'm going to come back to what should you do if you find yourself in financial crisis and if you find yourself in all the other layers in the wealth pyramid. We'll talk about exactly what you should be doing in each of those layers. So the second category are people who are in financial instability. Financial instability. Forgive my spelling. Financial instability. Okay. Now, this category of people are those who stay home, don't take them home. So they make money. They, they have they go out early in the morning, they work so hard and all of those things, but their take home doesn't take them home. They are not able to cover their bills, right, with their income. And that is also a very terrible place most people are. And we've seen, I mean, I've had interactions. I do a lot of coaching, a lot of counseling, because I'm also a pastor and also a consultant and a coach and a business coach. So I do a lot of this. So I'm on both end of the pendulum. And so from time to time, I interact with people and I understand, especially when you migrate from Africa and you migrate to the Western countries, like whether you are in Europe or you are in America or you are in Asia, wherever it is, as long as you are not even in your home country. Now, there are those who are even in their home countries and they still have to deal with this as well. So this is not, it's not geographical, it is universal. This principle I'm sharing with you is universal. It has no regard to where you live or where you work. So, but this category of people are essentially people who make money, but they are not able to cover their bills. And as a result, they are unstable financially, right? Now, this is it. This is the way this thing works. As long as your your as long as the rate at which money leaves you is faster and more than the rate at which money flows to you, you can never be financially stable, right? You can never. And that is what is happening to this category of people. So and there are lots of people, you can see that the larger population clearly would be here, right? Both financial instability and financial crisis. I'll still get to what you should do if you find yourself to be in any of this situation. Okay. The third category of people are those who are in measure of financial stability. Financial stability. Okay. Now, you are in financial stability when you enjoy a degree of financial equilibrium. In other words, the income you make is able to cover your bills. So you enjoy some degree of comfort. Your children go to good schools. You eat what you like. You occasionally go on vacation, right? And those are the category of people that are often regarded as middle class. Now, most of the time, um, people who are in the middle class, who are considered elites, right, uh, are usually very proud and arrogant, and they rarely listen to anybody who has some ideas that can help them improve their finances until we hit a brick wall. Okay. And so this population of people are typically very arrogant set of people. And I mean, by the grace of God, I've encountered them when I was broke. And when we talk now, I see that, well, I know how broke they really are. So I know the tragedy of just being financially stable. And why is it a tragedy to just be financially stable? Is because your lifestyle is only being maintained or sustained by your active income. In other words, should anything tamper with your current source of active income, you could be back in financial instability or financial um, crisis. Does that make any sense? So for this category of people, they only rely on their active income. They get well paid. I saw a video. A young lady was being interviewed, and so how much do you earn? What do you do? She said she's a data analyst. So how much do you earn a year? And she said about $210,000. Now that looked like a lot of money. Now, if that person, that young lady may have not much obligations or responsibility, and so she's fairly stable. But if care is not taken, should that person lose her job, she could be back in financial instability and not be able to fend for herself because she most likely may not even have savings, most likely may not have investments, may not have any asset to her name whatsoever. And that's what we have seen. So if you are anywhere between financial stability and financial crisis, then clearly you need to achieve financial freedom challenge, where we break it all down. throughout the 5 days. But before we get into that, let me take a step further. The next level is financial independence. Financial independence, right? Now, financial independence is that point in a person's life where the proceeds from his or her investments is able to, meet your personal and family needs without you having to work another day. And that's the very least anybody and everybody should aspire for. The very least. It's not the peak, but it's the very least every one of us should aspire for. And the reason this is so important, it's because from my experience, and I'm being honest with you here, from my experience, financial independence is still selfish, is still self-centered. And there's nothing wrong with attaining financial independence. Okay? But it's not the ultimate, which we will get into. But it's still a better place than just financial stability or financial instability or financial crisis, clearly. Okay? Now, the final and the ultimate level, which is really what I recommend, is financial freedom. Permit me to just write freedom. Okay? It's financial freedom. Now, financial freedom is that point in a person's life where the proceeds from his or her asset is not only capable of meeting his personal and family needs alone, but it's also able to extend goodness and kindness to other people. So on account of you, there are children who are going to school who are on scholarship. There are widows who are being cared for. There are, motherless children, orphans who are being cared for, depending on your own life and your money mission, right? So, because you see, why that is the ultimate is because that is your greatest source of personal fulfillment. Personal fulfillment doesn't come from how much you accumulate alone. It comes from how much you contribute to the lives of others. And this is so crucial, so important, so important. So what do you do if you are now, if you got it up onto those points? Let's please type 2 just to be sure that you got it up until this point. Type 2, please, if you got it up until this point. I just need to be sure that you got it up until this point. I need to get into what then do you do? What do you do to move? If you are in financial crisis, what should you be doing? If you're in financial instability, what should you be doing right now? What should you be paying attention to right now? And then if you're in financial stability, what should you be paying attention to as well? And of course, if you're in financial independence, what should you do? And then if you've attained financial freedom, what should you be doing as well? Okay, and that's what I want to quickly focus on, and then take a couple of questions, and then we'll be done for today. Right. Thank you so much, Madam Esther, Mr. Inka, Mr. Imo, and then who else? Okay, yeah. So let's proceed. Now, if you are in financial crisis and in financial instability, I'm going to group both of them together. If you're in financial crisis or instability, you need to pay serious attention to aggressive, and please take note of these things that I'm about to talk about right now, because they are so essential. Aggressive mental evolution and skill development. This is so important. Aggressive mental evolution. Listen, you are where you are because of who you are, right? If you know better, or if you knew better, you would have done better, right? What brought you here can't take you further. So if you are in financial crisis or financial instability, it is the level of information that you have been exposed to all along that kept you there. And if you knew any better, then you certainly would have stepped up further. All right. So, and that's why there has to be mental shift. There has to be a personal transformation. I always say it all the time. If it must be, it's up to you. You are the most important critical success factor, right? In the transformation of the success you really want to record in life, right? Because until you change, nothing else changes. Now, this may sound like a rhyme, but it's the pure truth. Warren Buffett, the richest investor on the planet Earth, was asked years ago that um, for somebody who's just starting out life, what should they be investing in? And he said the most important investment they should make is actually in themselves. And I've come to realize that the quality of your decisions can't be better than the quality, the quality of a financial destiny can't be better than the quality of your financial decisions. And the quality of your financial decisions certainly cannot be better than the quality of your financial education. So getting better, getting smarter, becoming a superior version of yourself is what is most critical. Unfortunately, people at this level often focus on what can I do? What can I get? They focus on outer work, outer, you know, work. They are moving, they're involved in a lot of activities externally, but nothing is shifting internally, right? And that is where the problem really is. Because see, wealth is not created outside in, it is created inside out. All right. This is so important. I know sometimes when you're having this conversation, for somebody who has not, had their first meal, and you are talking mental revolution, they are talking read book, develop yourself. It's like, does this guy understand what I'm going through? I know that's really the way it feels, right? Many of the transformation I experienced did not happen when things shifted for me externally. It happened long before then. In fact, what battered hope inside of me, confidence that it's only a matter of time. This thing will get better. It only gets better by the day. Well, because of some of the information and the transformation that was going on within me. Okay. So there has to be that mental, and it has to be approached aggressively. Okay. Right. So this is so important. It's so important for someone who is either in financial instability or financial crisis. Years ago, I was at a conference where I facilitated, and during the Q&A session, young lady asked me this important question, and she said, "Oh, thank you so much for the powerful presentation, blah, blah, blah." And then what do I say to her? That she earns 15,000 naira. This was like maybe 12 years ago or so. And that her salary at the time was 15,000 naira. And she, based on some of the things I taught, even though I can't even remember teaching on savings or whatever, or investment, she said she has decided that she wanted to start saving 50% of her money, you know. So what what do I make of that, you know, and what's my advice? And I said to her, I said, number one, I commend your decision, and I commend your desire to invest or save as much as you have just described. I said, but can I advise you on something? As important as savings is, the purpose of savings, right, among other things, is really not about how much money you accumulate alone. Note the word emphasis on alone. So there's the importance of saving. All right. There's no hanky panky about that. And I teach a lot around culture of savings and all of that. But more important is the culture of postponing gratification, not eating it all up with your 10 fingers. I said, so that is the purpose. So it's a way to discipline yourself and develop a habit of savings. That's number one. I said, so for that reason, I recommend that not more than 10% or 20% of whatever she earns should be going as savings, either in a thrift society, what we call a job, or maybe in a cooperative or save whatever. But I told her something. I said, even if you saved the entire 15,000 naira, it may take you another 30 or 40 years before you become a millionaire. I said, so this is what I recommend. I said, whatever has kept you on this salary scale, there's a skill gap, right? There's a skill gap. I said, so anyone who would employ you they only measured you, assessed you based on the value you are bringing to the table. And so they only judge the value you bring to the table at 15,000 naira. In order for you to earn past this, then you have to have a superior skill, have greater value you are bringing to the table to earn and command much more. I said, so I regard investing in herself as the number one step she should take. And that's what I'm sharing here as well, right? So most times when people are struggling financially, what I want to assess first and foremost, look at their skills. What skills have you developed? What value can you bring to the market? Because see, money is a reward we get for solving other people's problem. Okay. And the more problem we solve for other people, whether individuals, families, or organizations, the more problems we solve for them, the more money flows to us. So to cure a money problem, cure cure other people's problem, solve other people's problem. If you want to cure and solve your own money problem, the fastest way to make that happen is to solve other people's problem. And now, when you develop skills, right, what it does is that it enables you to be able to solve people's problems more efficiently, speedily also, and effectively. So what would typically take other people maybe 1 month, you can resolve the problem in 2 days or in 2 hours or in 1 hour, right? It reminds me of one of my very good friends. It was the CFO of one of the big fours in Africa a while back. He currently serves as CFO in another conglomerate right now. Very good friend of mine. We got married the same day. Very good friend of mine. So in one of the companies, in one of the conglomerates where he had served as CFO as well, he said to me that one of the members of his team, got another job, was headhunted from another corporation. And so he moved. The guy moved, and his absence created a void in his department. And so he needed to fix that problem. And the only way he could fix that problem was not to start headhunting someone else, but was to see how he can train those that were already on ground. And that so he had redeployed one of his members to the same task that the former staff, was handling. And then he got wind that this new guy that was redeploying was grumbling and was complaining and was murmuring that it's not part of my job description, it's not part of my job description. So when he got that information, he said he summoned the guy into his office and said, "Do you know why I get paid more than you?" It's because what will take you 2 months, I can finish it in 2 minutes. I have developed skills. And I did not, these skills, I was not born with these skills. I developed them because I embraced opportunity to solve problems, critical problems, technical problems, big strategic problems. So that's the reason why this company pays me more than they pay you. So what I'm doing for you is something that will not only profit you today, it will profit you in the long term. So he said after that engagement he had with that junior staff in his department, the guy brightened up and appreciated the opportunity and then left. He said, few months down the line, the guy was headhunted now to another place. Of course, when they headhunt you, it's because you are really solving problems at a high level. But he would never have been of value to that company that headhunted him if he had no capacity to solve such problems. You see, the point I'm trying to make in a nutshell is skill development is what is lacking for most people. For somebody who is not making money at all, right? It was Albert Einstein that was said to have, made the statement that you cannot solve a problem at the level of intelligence when you created the problem. You can't solve a problem with the same intelligence you had when you created the problem. So you need superior intelligence to solve the problem you created. And that's why even if you have successfully built up measure of portfolio of assets, and you feel disgruntled, you feel tied down, you feel trapped, and you are not able to even meet basic needs, $5,000, $10,000 a year is much of a burden to you, then it speaks of something. It means that you have created a problem with all the assets you have accumulated. You now have a problem that your previous level of intelligence can't resolve. And so this is my recommendation. Aggressive mental shift. Expose yourself to information, expose yourself to relationships, environment that will challenge you, that will stretch you beyond your comfort zone. Listen to me carefully. The greatest enemy of destiny is not past failure. I'm telling you the truth. The greatest enemy of success is past success. And the reason that is so delicate is because it breeds complacency. It breeds comfort is an enemy of progress. I know that. I challenge myself every now and again. Once I get to a level where I feel like, it's like this thing has become normal, right? Because you have enormous potential. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. You have enormous potential and capacity to bear anything, right? You just have not been stretched yet. And that's usually the reason why people are confined and unlimited. Okay. So expose yourself to, you know, new knowledge, new insight, develop new skills, right? In this age of Internet of Things, in this age of um, um, online marketing, um, um, robotics and animations and all of that, digital media, it's time to embrace something because internet now has become a money spinner, has become a money printing machine. And one smart thing you can do today to future-proof your career or business, for those of you, depending on what side of the pendulum you fall, right, is to ensure that you develop relevant skills, scarce skills, skills that can solve critical problems. Because the faster you can solve their problem, the more money you will be willing to pay. A while back, I saw a tweet by Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the founder of SpaceX, is the founder of Tesla. He was the co-founder of PayPal, which he later sold before he started this other company. He's also the founder of Neuralinks. So the guy is a phenomenon when it comes to the school of wealth. And one of the tweets that I saw, the tweet I particularly saw, was saying they are looking for developers, software developers, and they are not interested in your certificate. They are not interested in whether you went into an Ivy League school or not, as long as you know how to program, how to code, and all of those things. That's what they are interested in. As long as you can create things that requires coding, programming, and all of that. You understand programming languages, and all of that. That's what matters to them. So your educational background is irrelevant. And we are getting there so rapidly because now what many human beings can do, AI is now doing it. We're in an AI revolution. So much skills that are available. And listen to me. There are so many things you can learn just by going to the University of YouTube or the University of Google. Even AI can help you code. AI can do it. So many things are changing right now. So you cannot afford to be broke in an age where there's surplus or where there's abundance. And it has to begin with the way you are thinking. Let me show you something. I'm dwelling on this because this is where a lot of people have the biggest challenge. Now, for somebody who is already in financial stability, you have conquered some things at a point. You have conquered some level of limitations, internal resistance and limitations. You just need a path. You just need guidance, further guidance, or mentoring or accountability for somebody who is in financial stability. But for someone who is in financial instability or crisis, they need a shaking. They need a push. And let me tell you something. When I understood this many years ago, it changed my perception completely. It changed how I see things. It changed literally everything. Look at it. How many of you have seen an ocean before? An ocean, a water body that you see the beginning, you can't see the end. You don't see the end. We all know the beginning, or you don't know the end. So you can stand at the shore, but you don't see the end. It's almost as good as endless. Okay. Now that ocean is a metaphor for life, is a metaphor for God. There's unlimited supply of resources beyond your wildest imagination. Unlimited. Everything you will ever need is not going to be created. It's already been created. It's in abundant supply. And that's exactly the way you must begin to see it. But guess what? What determines what you draw from that ocean is the size of container you bring to it. So imagine that you bring in a 10-liter gallon and another person brings in a 200-liter gallon and another person brings in a 1 million liter gallon. The question is, will each of these people get water from the ocean? The answer is yes, all of them would get water. But who determines the quantity of water they get or they draw from the ocean. Each person. And what determines what each person gets is the size of their container. The ocean is God or life. The container is your mind. And the beautiful thing I found out about the mind is that it is elastic. Once it is stretched, it never returns to what it was before. So the capacity, it just pulls you in a direction that changes your life completely. Somebody following me at all? This is so powerful and it's so important. Okay? So what is limiting you is inside you, not outside you. Please, I want somebody to type it in the chat box. What is limiting me is not outside me, but inside me. There is an African proverb that says, "Bikule pani to deole pani." If the enemy within does not hinder you, the one without can do you no harm. And the biggest limitation and resistance to our growth and progress that we often experience is often inside of us. That is why if you want to change anything in your life, just look into the mirror. If you are looking for the enemy of your life, just look into the mirror. You will see the authentic one there. And if you can fix that person, if you can fix the one you see in the mirror, you have fixed your life. This is so important. I don't know if I made any sense from this I've shared. So I've dwelt so significantly on the financial instability bit and the financial crisis bit. My time is really fast spent. But let me see what I can say concerning financial stability. Like I told you, most people in financial stability are essentially people who already are enjoying some degree of financial equilibrium. So what is coming in can take care of all their bills, their obligations. So they are fairly comfortable, right? So they go on vacation periodically. Their children go to good schools. They live in nice neighborhoods and all of that. And they have all the resemblance of wealth, so-called wealth. The challenge with people in this category is that should anything tamper with their current source of active income, because that's what their lifestyle is premised upon, should anything tamper with their current source of active income, they are back to financial instability or financial crisis. Now, for the most part, most of these people already have created some degree of developed skills that is bringing significant value. And that's why they are earning at the level they currently earn. But they are just financially stable. How do they move from financial stability? How do we get them to move from financial stability to financial independence? Is by ensuring that they are able to manage and multiply their active income. So what we really want to achieve for these people is to ensure that a significant portion or a proportion of their active income is being converted to accumulation of assets, cash flow producing assets. Now, I can't begin to recommend this immediately for somebody who is in financial crisis or who is in financial instability. Because again, you can only manage and multiply money you have only made. You can't manage or multiply money you have not yet made. So you need to first sort yourself out, get yourself together, and be on track to making money first. And that's why I recommend this. But as soon as you begin to make money, then you want to start to develop budget. So we manage money by budgeting. Now let me put it this way: we make money by working and solving problems. Okay, that's how we make money, by adding value, solving problems, meeting needs. That's how we make money. And as long as you are meeting needs, solving problems, um, you will always be making money. Okay, but we manage money through budgeting. And we have a segment of the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge that dwells on that extensively and give you different methods that you can adopt. So if you're on this group, you're on this call, and you are already making some measure of income, then you certainly would need the recommendations we'll give in the AFFC program. So you manage money by budgeting. We multiply money by investing. There's only one way to multiply money anywhere in the world. The only way to multiply money in the world is by investing. is by investing. That's the only way we multiply money. Okay. And the goal of that multiplication is to turn active income to passive income. Now, let me illustrate something. The money, the money you work for is active income. The money that is working for you is passive income. So as long as you work, money comes. That is active income. But as long as money is doing the work, so you are essentially engaging money, money is doing the work. That is how you attain passive income. Okay? So a lot of people remain in this state of financial stability for so long, for as long as they retain their jobs. But as the moment something tampers with that, because you see, there are three realities, three arrows that are that is the reality of a lot of people in the workplace. The first one is either retirement or resignation or retrenchment. Retirement is when you've passed the age of productive, adding value to an institution productively. And so you move out of active working life, and that's retirement. You've crossed the age, the law of diminishing return has set in. You have no economic value as such to that organization. They need fresh blood, they need new energy, they need new mind. So at that point, there's an exit, retirement. The second one is retrenchment. When there's a crisis in an organization and they're thinking of who do they want to remove to reduce the overhead, they retrench some people. And most times they start with the people who have not significant implication to the organization. So they start with people who are dispensable most of the time, which is why I keep talking about skill development. I'm emphasizing skill development. Dedicate time to developing skills, right? Developing scarce, soft, skills, relevant, in-demand skills, especially in this digital age. Okay, so that's the side of things. So we want to move you from just active income to passive income, and to do that, you have to invest. You have to send money on errand. You have to give You have to give your money assignment. You have to ensure you have been working all your life for money. It's time for money to start working harder for you. Right? You can never be financially independent if all the money you make comes only as a result of your labor. You can never be financially independent. Listen, let me share this with you. And I want you to note this. Please, if you can, note this. The reason why broke people are broke is because they are their only income producing assets. I don't know if anybody's following me. The only reason why broke people are broke is because they are their only income producing asset. Guess what? The only reason why rich people are rich is because we have income producing assets. So rich people are rich because we accumulate income producing assets. So if there's anything at all you should be doing in financial stability, once you start to make income, right, and you develop your skill to a level where you are bringing so much value to an organization, and then you are making money, a portion of that money, a part of what you earn is yours to keep. A part of what you earn is yours to give. A part of what you earn is yours to keep. A part of what you earn is yours to eat. A part of what you earn is yours to give. Is what you donate, is the rent we pay for the air we breathe, for the life we live. Many of us know exactly when we get to our beds, but we don't know exactly when we fall asleep. There's a power that puts you to sleep. There's a power that wakes you up. Every time you give, either to help someone else, whether you give your tithe, you give to someone ahead of you, up above you, or you give to support somebody below you, it's rent you are paying. And that's why life can be so much of life has favorites. God has favorites. Because whoever is helping to support other people is helping is work of creation to continue to exist. Okay, and that's why the air, the oxygen you need for your own survival doesn't come from you, it comes from plants. The carbon dioxide that plants require to survive comes from you. So as long as you continue to exhale, plants will continue to survive. And as long as plants continue to exhale as well, you too will continue to survive because you need the oxygen. You see how life is interdependent. And that's what a part of what you earn is yours to give. If it's all about me, myself, and I, you can't go far. There is a law of generosity that you must obey. Um, I really didn't think that I was going to get into this, but are we getting value from this? I hope I'm not speaking just to myself. How this is making sense? Please respond to me. I hope this is making sense. I hope it's adding value to you. So a part of what you earn is yours to give. To give. A part of what you earn is yours to keep. And a part of what you earn is yours to eat. What people do is a part of what they earn is theirs to eat. And that's all they do with money that comes in. So there's nothing to keep, there's nothing they give. So life is not working for them. So they are not deploying the law of generosity. They are not helping creator to sustain his work of creation. It's like holding onto your breath to say, no, I'll keep this to myself. You will suffocate and die. So a portion of what you earn should be donated, should be given, particularly to people and places where you may not even be known. There are people who do donations anonymously. There are people who give to people they know they cannot reciprocate that gift. So it's important to recognize that. And then, of course, the less is blessed of the better. So there's nothing wrong also giving to mentors, giving to people that you regard and honor, right? The point is a part of what you earn is yours to give. And we need to transfer this understanding to our children. Listen, listen. This law works. I got one of the biggest and the best news of my life tonight. I just ended a meeting before joining this meeting. This is my fourth meeting today. And the last meeting I just had brightened my day. I can only say, because I never prayed for such a thing, I can only tell you that, see, I'm a dangerous giver. It's part of the budget. A part of what I earn is mine to give. Listen, when you are a giver, there are events, circumstances, people, places, platforms that will be organized to work in your favor. Even people who hated you before, they will fall in love with you. And I'm talking to you about giving, generosity. A lot of us are stingy and we don't realize that we are actually hurting ourselves. Okay? So a part of what we earn is yours to give. Listen, there are many dimensions of favor that not your effort can produce. Now, let me tell you this. Let me say it this way. If you look critically into your life, closely into your life, if everything that you rely on, or you survive on, is all by your effort, the grace is absent. Is absent. Favor is absent. There should be a measure that you yourself can say, no, this is not my effort. This is not my labor. This is not a question of skill. Thank God for skill. Thank God for capacity building. But this one, I can't trace it to just my skill. This one is favor of God. And that only comes when you are a generous person. And I don't mean just money alone. It also means giving your time, being of value to other people. This moment now is of my time, my precious time. And I'm believing that this value I'm bringing, listen, it's not about you buying anything from us. If all I've done today is I've made my own little contribution and it helps you to make better, smarter, wiser decisions as far as your finances is concerned and you are better for it, I've made my own contribution to the universe. This is the law of generosity. So you can give your time, you can give of your talent, you can give your treasure. So, but as far as money is concerned, the treasure part, a part of it is yours to give. It's not for it to be eaten. That's why in every fruit there is a seed. And just as you can count, I mean, you can count, all of us can count the number of seed in a fruit, but you can't count the number of fruit that's in a seed. So every time you eat the seed, you have eaten potential harvest, unlimited harvest that is tied to that seed. And that's why seeds are generally tasteless or bitter because they were never meant to be eaten in the first place. Please take note of these things. So, generosity. The other one is keep. We're talking savings and investments. And then we're saying your personal, your running, your your I can call it operating expense, you know, family operating expense. So you can put personal and family operating expense. But this is the first one. You do it in this order and you'll never be broke. This is the missing link of a lot of people I know in the diaspora. We carry that same philosophy. It has not helped us, but you are trying to push something that only heaven can push on your behalf. It's time to start giving. It's time to start saving. Let me even shock you. A lot of people even lack the discipline to save and invest as they should because they've not developed the capacity to give. Because sometimes even the grace to give and to save, invest, and even make the right investment and not be scammed is hidden in your generosity. Is somebody getting something here? So that is what the people in financial stability are supposed to focus on. To manage their money, multiply their money. People with financial independence, their focus will be asset optimization and retention. So if you have an asset that is producing for you maybe annually on maybe 5%, 4%, right? Maybe you have cash investments, portfolio investments, or even fixed assets, maybe real estate investment that is giving you traditionally maybe 4 or 5% per annum. We now want to optimize it so that it can produce more, right? So if you have a real estate asset, you can allocate financial resources. You can redistribute financial resources. You can say, okay, this money I'm moving from cash investment, I'm moving it to real estate investment. But this real estate investment, I'm going to only be doing short-term rentals or mid-term rentals or corporate leases or that kind of a thing. That can help you optimize those assets even better. So you can move from 5% annual returns, annual interest or annual income, right? Annual rental income into maybe 10 or 15 or 20% per annum. That's asset optimization. So that what is already producing can produce it even more. And ultimately, you are not jeopardizing you are not taking a risk on your assets. You are not taking a risk on that asset. You want the asset to be fully optimized, yet retained. So everything that has to do with ensuring the asset itself and that it's continuing to produce. I mean, all these our footballers that the world, the famous footballers, most of these guys are insured. They insure their legs, they insure their hearts, they insure their heads. You have no idea the kind of team that they build around themselves because they are moving assets. Okay? And whatever. I remembered one of my executive coaches said to me years ago, not too long ago actually. He said to me, he said, "Why don't you?" I mean, this was when I was fully operating in Nigeria before we migrated our own business to the US. This gentleman said, he said, "Don't you know that having police escorts, having all those things gives confidence to people who invest with you because you are the assets, you are the engine of growth." Because of course, if you live and work in Nigeria, and you have a measure of success, right, that is uncommon, right, that is not so common among a lot of people, you are required to provide some military paraphernalia and protection around yourself. He said, because it also builds confidence in the mind of the people. I said, well, I'm not that kind of person. Um, I'm not, but I realized at some point that I needed to, whenever I'm going for certain place, some work to be done, I get escorts. My team arrange escorts. Right? I'm talking of asset optimization because even you are an asset, and you are even the main asset. Don't forget what we started from the skill development. Investing in yourself, you are the main asset. But we want to go past you being the only one making the money. So you don't want to remain the only one producing income. You want to ensure that, well, you also acquire or accumulating income producing assets. And those assets are even producing a lot more than they may already be producing. Okay, so that's pretty much what we do. And then finally, you want to do more of um, income protection, income and asset protection, right? So here, emphasis will be more on legacy. Okay, will be more on legacy and all of that. So once you are financially free, that is it. And how would you know that you are financially independent? So let me explain this to you. We can't go into all of the details right now because my time is really fast spent. But if you earn as somebody who is in financial stability, let's say you earn $100,000 a year, right? You are regarded financially independent when your asset and investment can produce the same or more than $100,000. So you'll be regarded as financially independent the moment you are now producing $100,000 from your assets and investments. Does that make any sense? So in the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge, I take the time to break it down so we can calculate exactly to the last number, to the decimal, how much you need to achieve to be considered financially independent or even financially free. We will run the numbers. There are laws, there are rules that helps in doing all those calculations. So I'm using this opportunity to invite you to register for our next edition of our next cohort of Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. You are not under obligation, right? Uh, this Saturday we'll be back again to continue the conversation, and it's always my delight. I've been doing this for professionally over 20 years now, professionally speaking, right? I had my background in investment banking, and this is my life purpose. This is my life mission, right? One of my life goals is to raise 1 million global millionaires. And this is part of that effort in making that a reality. Okay. I personally believe, especially to Africans, Nigerians, Africans, whether you are married or unmarried and you are based in the diaspora, I know what you guys are dealing with. Um, you know, now I shuttle between Nigeria, and the United States. And so I have a sense of what's going on. I have understanding of the context in Nigeria. I also have understanding of the context in America. And I know what my eyes saw with the level of success and the favor God has given me, as a diaspora Nigeria in America. And I imagine people will never have the same privileges and opportunities back home like I still do. I wonder what they will be dealing with. So it had pretty much become a life mission for me. And this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. So I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for legacy. I'm doing this for, it's one of the things that gives me my greatest sense of fulfillment. And so I'm using this moment to invite you to join us for the next cohort of the Chief Financial Freedom Challenge. I personally believe it's going to be of tremendous, tremendous impact. On the one we focus on personal transformation, like I told you, if it must be, it's up to you. You are the most important critical success factor. And that's one of the key things we focus on day one. So it's the foundation of wealth. We look at the back end of wealth. We look at all the things that are responsible for your behaviors, for your actions and your decisions. We deal with all of that. And on day two, we focus on personal preparation. It is the way you lay your bed that you will lie on it. So we look at all the structures that you need to put in place, right? Because like I often say, any life, any family, any business that lacks structure has no future and it is bound to rupture. That's what we focus on day 2. Day 3, we focus on income generation. Like I've said time and time again, if you're not making money at all, right? If you're not making money at all, there are 3 possibilities. Number 1, you start begging for money. When you run out of people to beg from, you start borrowing money. When you run out of people to borrow from, then you start cutting corners, you start compromising, you start scamming people, defrauding people. And now neither of these 3 options are honorable, but the last one can land you in jail. And it's for that reason we put this program together. So day 3 focuses on income generation. It is the single piece, is the pillar of wealth creation, is what holds everything else together. Because you can't really manage or multiply money you have not yet made. So if you are in financial instability or in financial crisis, this program is going to be of tremendous value to you. Make it an investment. Okay, the contact is there, +1. So depending on the country where you're joining from, +1. The number is available on WhatsApp. So just send interested to that number or type AFFC and they will share with you all the details that you will need. And then day 4, we focus on asset accumulation. So really what we are doing with this 5-day challenge is to move anybody from wherever that is undesirable to the ultimate, which is financial freedom. Because really, there's a lot more peace when you have resources and when you can produce resources, produce money whenever you need it. There's a lot of peace, comfort that comes from it. All right. And you will be able to do a lot more good than when you are deprived. And that's what this program is going to do for you. The new date, we originally were going to have it on this August, but we just ended one this early August. And so we thought we should shift it further to September 29th to October 3rd. So it's going to be powerful 5-day session. Each day is not going to be less than 2 hours. It could be more, but it's not going to be less than 2 hours each day. And it's going to be life-changing. I tell you this, and it comes with money-back guarantee. So if you want to learn more, want to know exactly what you must do, please just just send the word AFFC to +1 470 708 4107. I'll take that again. +1 470 708 4107. So just WhatsApp that number for enrollment details. Just send that details there. And I'll be very, very delighted to be of tremendous value to you. I'm here to serve, not here to sell. If at the end of the day you decide to buy anything else from us, it's at your own volition. But please note this. This is going to be it's going to be something you will remember for a long time, for a very, very long time. So if this is your very first time, I want to specially welcome you, and I hope I've been able to add value one way or the other tonight. Thank you very much. If you have questions, please feel free also to send those messages and we'll respond to that. This coming Saturday, 4 p.m. EST, 9 p.m. UK time. We'll also be here for a continuation of this conversation. There's a lot that we couldn't unpack, but on Saturday, hopefully, we should be able to touch on them again. And I look forward to taking your questions and contributions as well. I want to thank you for your time. My name remains Oladipupo Clement, and I'm fondly called OC. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.